You are listening to the Postcast, presented by the Locked On Senators podcast, following a 4-1 win for the Sens on home ice over the Buffalo Sabres. Tim Stützle has a goal and an assist. Jake Sanderson, a 2-point night, and Anton Forsberg made 29 of 30 stops, and the Ottawa Senators win a game at home for the first time since mid-October. I'm Ross Levitan alongside Brandon Pillar, and we have the whole Postcast crew here at Levitan Martian as well. And it's fitting that Martian has his cat in the background because meow, Alex DeBrincat gets another tuck. Pillsy, take me through your immediate reaction following this win.
Feels good to win the must-win games, and we are now at a 3-2 record with the must-win games. And this was, it's kind of similar to the game that happened to start the season, a 4-1 win for the Buffalo Sabres. But if you watch that game, you're not like, oh man, the Sabres blew out the Ottawa Senators. And now the Sens get their revenge. It's back on their home turf, a little home cooking, and they win 4-1. But this game was actually kind of close for a little bit too long. But ultimately, finally, the Senators are able to pull a win out, and that is huge to get this W. I feel so good about it. And we're going to get into this probably after dark, but the Belleville Senators also get a win. So what a day for your Senators franchise.
Yeah, Pillsy, it did feel like it was a close game, but I think the only reason for that was because the Sens spent half the game in the penalty box.
I know,
8
yeah.
power plays they gave up tonight. And luckily the boys on the PK showed up because 1 for 8's a pretty good record there for those guys. But I think that's the only reason why I felt as close as it did. I don't think the Sabres get 30 shots on net either without, those power plays. So I think that was a huge thing to look at there. But yeah, no, the Sens, they pulled it off, baby. We got one. We got a win.
Yes.
They got a win while allowing 8 power plays against. I thought this was going to be the Tampa game all over again. Pillsy, how did they kill it off? How good was that PK, especially in the first period?
Yeah, it was great. And, guys were really committed to blocking shots. And I really liked the Ottawa Senators PK has actually been decent all year, apart from letting terrible timing power play goals in. But the thing is, they were able to block shots and they didn't mess around with clearing the puck. Holden, I thought I had a bunch of notes where it's just Holden, no hesitation, no trying to get too complicated with it. You got the puck in your stick, get it out of there. And I thought he did a great job of that. The whole penalty killing unit deserves massive stick taps because, 8 penalties, including 4 high sticking. You toss a double minor in there too. Things can get out of hand real quickly if you don't have a good unit out there killing penalties. So massive, massive job there.
And to me, it all goes right to Jake Sanderson. 6 minutes and 46 seconds on the penalty kill. He was out there for a lot of that stuff. And 5 blocked shots from the kid tonight. He was an absolute workhorse for the boys. And that's exactly what, we've seen that in Nodak before, right, Ross? And Brandon, when they're giving Jake Sanderson extra ice time, he's getting more ice time. His legs get all warmed up. He gets nice and toasty out there, and he gets super comfortable, and he starts making really nice plays. That shows, too, with the 2 assists that he has. Well, both assists. And he could have had 3 if Brassard could bury it, right? Because he had that bang-bang play at the front of the net that came off. Sanderson loves that play where he throws it wide on purpose and lets it bank off the back and then come back to the front of the net. And that's how Tkachuk ended up scoring tonight as well. But he set up Brassard for that one chance as well there. And he could have had 3 assists easily using that play. I'd love to see that from him. He's so smart.
This was are you talking about Jake Sanderson still? Are you
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because I was going to say Matthew Joseph played a smart game too. You finished him. Like, this might have been his best game of the season. Now, we put the question already. You can vote right now live in YouTube, where you can join us in the Postcast after each and every Ottawa Senators game. We do, however, cut the first part of it, throw that up for your ride to work. So in case you miss any of it, it's always available in your audio podcast book, but the exclusive after dark only on YouTube. We'll be doing that in a little bit, but on Instagram and YouTube, I put out Who Gets the Goggles, the new tradition from Saturday in Philadelphia. The options are Jake Sanderson, Anton Forsberg, Matthew Joseph, or Tim Stützle, who quietly a goal and an assist for him. We already have Ben in the chat putting the cat emoji. DeBrincat certainly made his impact known on tonight's game. Martian, after that note on Jake Sanderson, I have a feeling I know where you're going.
Oh, well, yeah. I mean, that's an easy Sens Central standout if that's what you're calling for right now, Ross.
No, I'm wondering the player of the game. So I guess we're kind
Oh,
of
yeah, no, yeah, it's the same thing. Yeah, I agree.
The goggles.
It's got to be Jake Sanderson. The goggles are going
Okay.
straight to him for sure. That was easily his best game as a Sen, and he had extra responsibility here too. Yeah, he carried a lot of the defensive play for the Sens tonight. He was just fantastic overall. The boys are definitely going to recognize that. Although I wouldn't be surprised to see them, goalie friendly show too, right, boys? You never know. Forsberg made a lot of key saves in that middle frame that I think, if he would have let one of those in, it would have definitely changed the tide of the game for sure as well. So we'll see where they go, but I think you're right. It's gonna be Jake Sanderson.
And how about bouncing back from an injury as well? He went down in the crease. It
Yeah.
almost eerily reminded me of how he was injured at North Dakota last year.
Yeah, almost.
Time he
Yeah.
crossed the crease and he gets cut. This time he gets a stick in the face, then a knee in the head from Austin Watson, a little friendly fire, and he's back the next shift, ready to go. This kid really, and you mentioned it on Twitter at Liams Martian, like the more of this key plays, the quicker he is, the more deception he starts throwing in. He's turning off of hits. He's the anti-Brandstrom, where he never gets hit on the forecheck. He's always, at the very least, he takes the contact, but repositions his body to protect the puck, and he almost uses it as a piece of explosiveness, where he gets hit on the back and it hits the Jets, and he's gone the other way. Super impressive talent for Jake Sanderson, and all of a sudden, tied for the league lead in points by a rookie. Still looking for his first NHL goal, but that's now 9 assists in Jake Sanderson's
Wow, I didn't even realize that. That's so sneaky of him.
NHL game.
So good, man.
How about being tied with Pinto in points, and Pinto has 8 goals and 1 assist?
Yeah.
0 and 9. Unreal.
I also
The
love
ultimate
that
duo.
they've got to have some internal competition there too, right, Pills?
Yeah, I mean, when it's this close and both these guys are coming in hot, both of them great choices for Calder Trophy winners if you got your bets in at betonline.ag early on before the season started.
And don't look now, but Matty Beniers, I believe, is without a point in at least his last 5 games. I'm looking here. Yeah, after having a 5-game point streak, he has now gone dark in the last 5 games out in Seattle. So Jake Sanderson, as he's done in the draft, as he's done during his freshman year, he sneaks up, not out of the gate, but he'll get there, and just cannot wait to see what the rest of the season and beyond looks like for Jake Sanderson. This was really, to me, his coming out party. He's already had a couple games where he's up in minutes without Thomas Chabot on the left side, but he really hit his stride tonight, and great to see it against one of his dad's old squads as well. But Pillsy, it's been too long. We're now 9 minutes in, and we haven't mentioned that we did get to see Craig Anderson after all. He came in an awkward situation where Eric Comrie goes down. I would be so mad if I'm Comrie at Rasmus Dahlin.
Yeah.
Through Mathieu Joseph, going full speed right over top of him. Stick taps to Eric Comrie, stays in the game, but you can tell that he's laboring a bit. And 2 shifts later, the little bank pass, high IQ hockey play from Jake Sanderson, doesn't have a lane to the net, knows Brady's right there, and the captain bangs it home. But next shift, then Comrie pulls himself, and in comes Craig Anderson, and he looked just as good as I thought he would.
Yeah, he did look pretty good, but I mean, it's so unfair. We're talking about a goalie in his 40s who played last night and had been sitting on the bench for over an hour, and he's got to come into this game like, sheesh.
How about the save on Brassard, though? Like, looking like vintage Craig Anderson, just like stand-up style, boom, kicks it out and gets his skate to the post.
Yeah, he's still pretty quick. And I think Alex Tuck was the guy who had the quote before the game who said, yeah, like, I mean, we'd like to have him in there, but he still moves like a 25-year-old, but on a back-to-back with his age and stuff, it's just not worth trying to throw him in there for that. Not to mention, I mean, it was Hockey Fights Cancer Night, right, too, Ross? And yeah, so, I mean, he had the emotion, in the middle of the game as well when they started giving the presentation and they gave him, his respects as a guy who, coming back. And then, I mean, I'm sure Nicole was in the stands as well there. And so he was getting emotional at that point before he even had to go in the game. So for him to have to shake that off in the middle of the game, say he was on the ice at that point, I think it made a lot of sense for him to be on the bench for this one.
So Craig Anderson stops 14 out of 15 shots in this game. The Sens also get an empty net goal from Tim Stützle. It was Alex DeBrincat that converted. And although Craig Anderson was in the net for that goal against, he wasn't really in it, as DeBrincat had a wide open cage after a bang play, makes the save off a Hamonic point shot, but then Matthew Joseph heads up play, finds a seam play, just bumps it over to DeBrincat, who makes no mistake. But get this, and it's the last time, hopefully, at least until we see Robin Lehner again, that I'll even mention the graphic of Sens abroad goalies dominating them. But Craig Anderson makes 14 out of 15 saves. That's a .933 save percentage. And out of all 140 games, that actually brings the save percentage down because it was at .936 before. So the Sens solved their problems in a way. But huge win. Now the Sabres have lost 7 straight games, and there where the Sens were not too long ago. So don't look now, but Ottawa's 2-1-1 in their last 4 games. However, we do have some Sens Central standouts to go. Before we get to that, we do have to talk a little bit about the officiating. How much of it was poor discipline, Martian, versus the refs just calling it pretty tight tonight?
They were calling it tight, but I think a lot of it was just poor discipline, honestly. You need to have, there was 8 high-sticking penalties in this game combined between the two teams. And I think Ottawa had 5 of them. You got to have control of your stick. One of them turned out to be that double minor. That was it. Brandstrom who took the double minor. He had a high-sticking penalty for sure.
I think it might have been Joseph. But
I think they both got high sticks. I can actually pull that.
Yeah, I think Joseph took 2. But anyways, yeah, you got to have control of your sticks no matter what. And that double minor was a high sticking penalty. Brandstrom had the one. Joseph had another. The boys were just pretty crazy with their sticks tonight. You really got to lock that down. I didn't think
it was Jacob Larson who had the double minor 2 minutes into the game.
Right, yeah. A terrible time to take a penalty when you're the Sens, for sure.
But you are right. Matthew Joseph had a high stick. Eric Brandstrom had a high stick. Tyler Mott had a high stick as well.
Yeah, it was a parade. I don't know what they have going on in that box that makes the boys want to keep going back there, but they gotta get rid of it, whatever it is.
Ottawa got 5 power plays of their own in this game as well. They outshot Buffalo 40-30 overall in the game, but Ottawa had 7 shots on their power play, and although they had more, Buffalo only had 6 shots on theirs. Tage Thompson gets the goal for Buffalo tonight, and not to brag, but now 2 straight games the lookout player scored. So maybe the team should be looking out for Locked On Senators every game day. All right, Pilsy, why don't you hit us with a quick break, and then we will come back with our Sens Central standouts, of which there are many, finally, in a 4-1 Ottawa Senators victory over the Buffalo Sabres.
And hopefully you guys are smiling extra hard, not just because the Ottawa Senators got a win, but you put your money where your mouth was. You listened to Locked On Senators. You knew it was a must-win game. You follow along with Liam's Martian's picks. So you cashed in a couple shekels at betonline.ag. It's a trusted online sportsbook of the Locked On Podcast Network for a good reason. They got all the best totals, scores, player performance props, overs, unders, money line, puck line, whatever you want. They got it. You got to check it out. And hey, it's not just hockey. They got baseball, basketball, football, soccer, golf, UFC, whatever your sport of choice is. You can find it, of course, at betonline.ag. So go to the website today, guys, or check it out on your mobile device. Guys, it's betonline. The game starts.
Making money from BetOnline.
There you go.
This game responsibly. I'm Ross Levitan with Brandon Pillar and at Aleem's Martian. The Postcast, presented by Locked On Senators, is available after each and every Ottawa Senators game. Sponsor coming soon. However, for now, they are simply the Sens Central standouts. Who wants the low-hanging fruit, gentlemen?
Well, I think Martian already had his, but Martian, if you had a couple more points on Sandy, I'll pass it off to you. Oh, he's muted.
Yes, he doesn't want to talk about Jake Sanderson anymore. Unless he wants to mime about him.
Sorry, yeah, I think I said my piece on Jake Sanderson. Actually, I was gonna leave him maybe for somebody who hasn't bragged about him quite yet.
We'll just take him off the board. We'll take him off the board.
Take him off the board. Yeah, we can do that. All right. Well, then I have a guy who I really want to talk about because I think before the game there were a lot of people, including myself, who said he probably didn't deserve to be playing with Alex DeBrincat tonight.
Well, Pills, are we just gonna let him have 2 in a row, or are we gonna make him sweat it out?
I don't know. Yeah, I was thinking, Ross, man, we are being very courteous here to Aleem's Martian.
Okay, you know what, Pilsy, you go ahead, buddy. I can see you got one.
You know what? I'll just lead off your point because I think I know where you were going. You're talking about Matthew Joseph, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, because that was going to be, well, I had another guy, but this segue works better. So my central standout
it's a twofer tonight for sure.
Okay, it's a twofer. So I'll start with Matthew Joseph, my locked on player of the game as well. And yeah, he really turned things up here. He got a couple new line mates. Things really switched around for him. I love that Gambrell pass that breaks out Matthew Joseph. We already referenced that play where Comrie gets injured. That's a beautiful play by Matthew Joseph. Drives the lane hard, and he plays it perfectly, because if he drives a little bit too hard, then there might be a goalie interference call, even though Dahlin hits him into Comrie, because the refs take a look at what is the decision you're making for the path that you're going to take here. So if you cut too hard towards the net, you put yourself running out of real estate, and they might make that call. So he does a great job staying wide, staying out of that crease, and I thought he was going to get an empty net opportunity. Him and Tyler Mott kind of had chances there, and he flung it on net later and missed. But I thought Matthew Joseph, with an assist tonight as well, he really, really changed things up. And he was a guy that, Ross, we talked about, only had 1 point, that goal in his last, a long time. Pretty much all season. He started off the season with a couple points and then went dark there. So massive bounce back game for my Central standout, Matthew Joseph.
Okay, this one might be off the board a little bit. Nah, I can't go
going off the board with your first pick.
No, I love that.
I'm gonna save it because goalie friendly show. We just have to go.
That was my other choice
right off the bat. Anton Forsberg just looked so calm and steady, and there were a pair of saves that I want to highlight here. They were both back to back when it was a 2-1 game. How was Dylan Cousins that wide open in front of the net? You know the play I'm talking about near the end of the second period? I couldn't believe it. And then so he makes that save. Boom. Play goes the other way. Then they turn it around again, and Peterka comes in all alone this time. And it's just another calm save. And at that point, when it's a 1-goal game, to get not one, but 2 point-blank saves from your goalie at the end of the period where Ottawa's been struggling, that to me where I was like, okay, he's in the zone. No matter how good I expected Anderson to be, and he was for the most part, in the other net, I knew that Forsberg was going to match him save for save from that moment on. So Forsberg looked great this entire game, especially that 2 minutes in the second period. All in all, though, stops all 20 shots at even strength, only gives up the 1 goal to Tage Thompson on the power play. Not much you can do there. Great sniper, 38 goal scorer from last year, scores from his office. Whatever, you just shake it off, and that's what he did. Forsberg, unreal tonight.
Yeah, he was unbelievable, Ross. Absolutely great. And I'm going to sound like a bit of a broken record here with my Central standout, because I feel like every time I get a chance to go here, I'm going to. And it's the captain again. It's Brady Tkachuk. He's so good, guys, down low below the goal lines, and his puck protection and the way he's able to create plays. I honestly think Matthew Tkachuk even said it himself, but obviously he's got major bias. He's definitely in the top 3 power forwards in the league right now, especially below the goal lines where he's able to make his plays. And not only that, jamming the puck is his specialty. He's the guy you want around and in around the crease. And tonight he gets the goal from that area. But 6 shots on goal, and I think it came off basically 3 different plays where he got 2 shots each time. He's pretty classic that way, where he gets it in tight and he starts jamming away. But he also, he got credit for the 2 hits, and we know him. He's always banging bodies, so that's just the classic Brady Tkachuk game. 15 minutes time on ice, and he was out there on the power play making stuff happen too. So I'm always going to go to Brady Tkachuk when I get the chance, because I really think that, this kid wants to win so freaking bad, and he's out there doing everything he can to help the team do that. So I'm going Brady Tkachuk all day here again, boys.
Love that pick. I'm up, Ross.
Yeah, you're up. We'll go ring around the rosy.
All right. Do I take the obvious one, or do I go off the board here? You know what? I'm going to go off the board. Since we're doing 2 standouts, I'm going to give some of the lesser known heroes, the unsung heroes, a bit of shine here. Guys, I thought Nick Holden had a great game. Probably the best game he had all season. Like I mentioned, I really noticed him on the PK. He was clearing the puck out. And then, look, I'm not sure if I'm 100% convinced of this, but I'm going to choose to believe it. I think he set that play up for Timmy to score that empty net goal, because he sauces that way too high. And for a guy that's not really a sniper or a puck moving defenseman to take a chance like that seemed a little odd to me. And it bounces off the boards perfectly to Timmy, because I swear, when you see the second replay of the far shot and you see Holden scanning the ice, he sees Timmy's going. So he's not just firing that hoping to score or ice it. I think that was a set play, and he banks it off the boards perfectly, and he plays almost 20 minutes, guys. 19 minutes and 50 seconds. That's got to be a season high. 2 shots, 4 hits, 2 blocks, and he gets the apple like I talked about. So a +1 on the day. So shout out to Nick Holden. Safety first, kids.
Safety first. That's nice, Pillsy. Yeah, I mean, he's got to carry a bit of the mail right nowadays with the 2 big boys out. So, yeah, for sure. Good pick, Pills.
Yeah, we got a couple honorable mentions as well, but I'm going to go Pilsy's direction of going with a little unsung hero, and it's a guy who I was pretty hard on last night as well, or after last game, last postcast, and that's Austin Watson.
Okay, nice. I was hoping you'd do that. I was
thought
hoping
you were going to go there too. I knew you were.
He scores the game-opening goal, which, if you remember, last season, he scored how many goals? 10?
Especially at the end of the season, he scored a lot of opening goals,
I believe 7 of his 10 goals. Don't quote me on it, but I believe 7 of his 10 goals opened the game. But that's not the stat that jumps out. It's a continuation of what happens when guys take too many penalties. You're shorthanded too much. He killed over 5 minutes shorthanded. He's played barely 5 minutes in some games this year. So to do it a man down, block a few shots, look good doing it, and not hurt his team momentum-wise at 5-on-5, I loved Austin Watson's game tonight. 2 blocks, 3 hits, 2 shots on goal, 1 found the back of the net. So I like that from Austin Watson, and a guy who I've been critical of in the last little while. I thought he was good, and Parker Kelly killed a lot of penalties as well. But as I throw the honorable mentions to you, Timmy still frustrates me at times, but then I look at the score sheet and he's got 2 points.
I know. Yeah, I mean, that's what you get with a 20-year-old superstar, though, Ross. Like, you remember seeing Erik Karlsson when he first broke in the league. He'd do the same thing. He'd have 3 terrible giveaways, and he'd put up 2 points. So, I mean, when you're doing it at forward, it's a little different, obviously, but Tim Stützle is still 20. That's what you got to realize. And he doesn't turn 21 for another month and a half or 2 months, whatever it is. So, I mean, he's still a very young player. And when we were saying it right before we jumped on, when he turns 23, he's going to be disgustingly good. Because once he's a little more stable on his skates, and he's got that history around the league, the younger guys coming in and then watching him a little bit, he's going to get a lot more respect. Because Peyton Krebs, remember Peyton Krebs tonight, trying to give Timmy the business, and Timmy was just not having it, just standing there like, dude, what are you, like, you tiny little guy, like swinging away, missing every shot. But yeah, Timmy smoked him too. I thought that was a clean hit also, but I guess when you're digging for the puck, you're not fair game. Which
I guess you're fair game to push, but if you cripple them, then it's not.
Yeah. Maybe if he just engages a little bit and doesn't.
Guys like push on the lower back and like try to get them off balance so that they have a better. But he's just like, no, I'm just gonna sit you down.
Yeah, he smoked him. It was great. It was just like, and Krebs wasn't expecting that. But
Krebs is not 6 feet, by the way. He's listed at 6 feet on the NHL website.
He's like 5 feet.
Yeah, in his skates, he's 6 feet.
Yeah, that's probably more right.
Yeah, like when that play happened, when Timmy knocks him down, I'm like, effing rights, Timmy. Lays a big hit and then draws a penalty for the retaliation. Love to see that. And then they're bringing Timmy over the box. I was like, what?
Yeah, there was no retaliation call where there definitely should have been. Like that's roughing textbook after the whistle by Krebs. And that was pure like anger from being hit previously. The refs already called it, dude. Like, just you're supposed to, and the refs let him get away with one there.
Yeah.
Interesting call.
All right. I've got a stat that I want to end off on for me. And then if you fellas have any final thoughts or final honorable mention for a standout, I want you to go right into it. But the third period was as boring as I've seen all year, and it was perfect. The way Ottawa shut it down. And a big reason for that, they won 13 out of 20 draws in the third period. That's got to be higher than they've done in a long time, Bills.
Ross, that's music to my ears. That was my stat that I was going to end off on. And I know you guys are going to laugh, but Dylan Gambrell, 5 for 7, 71%. Go ahead. Yuck it up down there, Martian. But this guy, when he's been playing, I've liked his game a lot. And he's even getting offensive chances these days. He scored a goal in his first game where he only played half a game after he got a game misconduct. So he's mixing up the rough stuff as well. And then he feeds Joseph with a nice feather pass that's perfectly placed for partial breakaway. So I think Gambrell deserved to see more ice time. Now, before you guys get upset, no, I'm not talking about getting him as a second line center. I like him as, a third line center, because Casti I don't think can play that, or neither can Gambrell, but a bottom six center, let's call it that, because I've really liked his play all around here. And I think DJ Smith really trusts him.
Final thoughts, Martian?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to complain. That's for sure. When you get a win, and I'm going to be happy with that every single time. I thought they did a great job, like you said, locking it down in the third period there. And I'm just a very happy Martian over here. It's fun to do a postcast after a win. It's been a long time, I feel like.
It is fun.
Let's try to do it again on Saturday, but we have a pair of episodes of Locked On Senators coming over the next couple of days. We're going to dive into some trends on tomorrow's show before the Ottawa Senators head west following their game Saturday afternoon at home against the New Jersey Devils. And then Friday, another hit of meth before the weekend. Mark Mathot will join us on the show. We're always fired up to have meth as well. But for now, we say goodbye. The Postcast After Dark is coming in 30 seconds, so stick around where we'll answer your questions. We do it after every game, but if you're listening in your car, Locked On Senators coming out soon, so stay tuned for all that. The Sens win 4-1. Claude Giroux's point streak is over at 9, but I'm sure he would trade it knowing that the team got 2 points. Your goal scorers are Austin Watson, Brady Tkachuk, Alex DeBrincat, and Tim Stützle. And it's a happy vibe. And the Senators will be tweeting out any moment the goggles video. So head over to Twitter at Sens Central and at Lalim's Martian for all the latest. Until then, we say goodbye for the Locked On Senators Postcast. Your team every day. Oh, does that song ever sound better after a win or what, Pills?
I'm vibing. What? This is an ultimate vibe here. The Postcast After Dark after a win. Feels good, guys. Feels good.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I'm like I said just before. I'm not complaining with this, boys.
No complaints from Martian. None.
This is nice energy. Hey, you just said another hit from meth on Friday. I mean, is that the segment name we're going with? Hits of meth?
I don't know. I would like to steer clear of the meth references in that way. Not because I'm like crazy about it, but I feel like it's been overdone. It's been overdone.
No, we're having fun. We really, having him on the show is huge, especially.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
And his unreal partners in the news as well. As we wait for questions, and we're already seeing EK talk. Like, where are you at? It's obviously a fun fodder for media. The storyline in itself is incredible. Alalim's Martian's Photoshop this morning. If you haven't
get the juices flowing,
Twitter right now, flawless. A 2D Erik Karlsson jersey. But does it actually make sense for this to happen? Martian.
I mean, when you look at the needs of the Sens, it kind of does make sense if you're just looking at it as an on-ice thing. But the cap situation, we all know, I mean, it's been well stated as people are speculating on this kind of deal, that it's just not going to work unless you send, money the other way, or, San Jose would also have to retain at least 50% or 50%, and then maybe have another team retain even more than that. I mean, and then you're going to have to give up a lot to get him the way he's playing here too. So I don't really think that it makes sense to do it, but it is fun to talk about. And it was fun making that Photoshop, and holy, would he ever look great in that 2D jersey. But yeah, it's hard to imagine them being able to pull that off.
I mean, I just pulled up the reason why it's not going to work.
Yeah, he's making $11 million, 11.5.
The rest of this year, he's making a prorated $2 million.
That's nice on the old finance department, but it's still a cap hit of 11.5. So
yes, man. What's the only hope then? If he gets bought out in the next 3 years, then comes home?
I mean, even then, no, I think by then they'll have this whole situation sorted out. I think right now the pressure's on because, they got the injuries that they do on the back end with Zub and Shabbat, and Dorion's trying to get something done. And obviously the defensive needs, just even with those guys in the lineup, are still there. I think Bernard Dogger's been doing a good job, but I don't know if DJ necessarily trusts him, and they probably want a veteran presence there. But I mean, I think it was a Mathot on Twitter today who said that's a lot of alphas on one back end, right? And having him, Shabbat, and Sanderson out there, all of them are very similar style players at different stages of their career, albeit. But it was fun as it would be. I don't see it happening, but it's super cool that the mainstream is talking about it. So there's got to be a little bit of smoke there, right?
Yeah, look, guys, I know I'm the classic party pooper, but this is a thumbs down for me. I disagree. I don't think he's a fit at all. Like Mathot makes a great point. All these alphas in the room, they had to trade away Brent Burns, one of their best franchise defensemen. They had to retain salary, and I'm pretty sure they gave stuff extra for Caroline to take him because it wasn't working with Brent Burns and Carlson. And no offense, Carlson's best years are far behind him. And even if the money made sense and you get salary retention, you move pieces around and et cetera, it doesn't make sense to me. And unfortunately, I only think Carlson's health is going to get worse. Sure, he's hot right now. And I love that Photoshop you did, Martian, but it's a big time no for me. Nah.
I mean, he is 32, right, Pilsy? It's older than me, and I don't feel great.
Yeah, and you've got both your ankles last time I checked. So
yeah, that's
yeah. I won't even wade into it too much, other than saying if there's any sort of value going the other way, then it just doesn't work.
There would be. The San Jose Sharks aren't moving him without getting value.
Yeah, Dan's got a great point. It's sell high trade bait right now.
Thank you, Dan,
totally,
for seeing it. Yeah.
Their worms were just fed the all-you-can-eat buffet, and now they're on the line. And there's sharks in the water, but who's going to bite on the rest of that 5 years is really where the question is. But then you hear the story about Oliver Ekman-Larsson, and you're like, that contract for the quality of player is way worse than Erik Karlsson.
I'll take Carl over Ekman-Larsson if that's what we're getting at here. Yep.
100%. Oh, okay. Can we go with this debate here? Our friend Ben D. Let's get wild.
Mr. Dover.
Let's get after it after a Sens Sabres game. Jake Sanderson clears Owen Power or what?
Are you asking me?
I'm asking whoever wants to say the most.
You can have this one, Pilsy.
The most confident part.
Oh man, I'm so lame, but no, maybe right now. But if we're talking, do you prefer Power or Sanderson? I think I would take Powers just of his career projection, where he could be at. But it's damn close. I'll tell you that it's damn close because Powers only is his first year.
It's almost going to be
Sanderson.
It's almost going to be I mean, this is kind of a crazy comparison too, but saying Chris Pronger or Nick Lindstrom. It's kind of I know Power.
I'm taking Lindstrom in that one, so maybe
I know, but Power doesn't really have that.
Throw some L's in the chat for Pilsy.
I'll eat those L's.
Big Sanderson, dude.
Yeah, I don't think Power's ever going to put up the points that Sanderson does. I don't think that's going to happen. I think he'll probably be better defensively, but I
hope I'm wrong.
Sanderson's a better offensive defenseman. Look at all the L's.
You can't shake and shimmy like Sanderson can. Sanderson shakes, shimmies. He plays well in his own zone.
I mean, that's one where really I should have just read the room and been like, "Oh yeah, Sandy, 100%." What am I doing here? That was an all-time bonehead play by me.
How about the Pilsy with the 2 L's capitalized? That's awesome.
Yeah.
Our friend C Poppy coming in with the super chat. We appreciate that. If anybody wants to throw in $1 tip, don't feel like you have to match our boy Joe Bell. Goes absolutely wild. But hey, if you want to throw in 50 cents, $1, we appreciate it. It helps fund my
Thanks, guys.
my postcast fuel, as we'll call it.
Your intake.
Gentlemen, if coaching isn't the problem, what is? I mean, tonight discipline was the main problem if we're looking at it, glass half's empty. But I don't know if DJ Smith on the bench, I don't think he's saying, okay, everyone, when you're skating, make sure your stick is as high as possible and then skate right into people.
Yeah.
Well, I don't know if I'm blaming that on the coaching. I think that the players have to step up for that. But all in all, I think it's more so like there needs to be a change. And the common denominator is the coach is the quickest guy out.
Yeah, that's what I was saying before when they were losing. But now that they're on a winning streak here, Ross, I mean, if they rip off a couple more wins, if they rip off a couple wins, then that DJ Smith talk is going to go away. Don't you think? I would imagine that nobody's going to be asking for a coaching change when the team is winning, and that's what happens. And when you lose 7 in a row, you're going to start seeing a lot of questions asked about a lot of different things. And I think DJ was the easy, obvious answer for a lot of people, but I don't know if it's the problem either. But yeah, I think that if you're going to if you want to shake things up, if you will, then that's probably the easy one. But it sounds like they're really on the hunt for the defenseman here. So, and I think that answers the other question too. Like, what's the problem? It's the defense.
Well, a problem that isn't on the team is a lack of mustaches as we're in Movember, and Martian's got his rocking. We've got
Looks good, buddy.
For CJ.
You look okay?
Yeah, I like it.
It's sharp.
You getting the Just for Men mixed in there, or that's au naturel?
Oh, that's au naturel, man. I would never just for men. Although I did actually when I was like 17 once. I needed help.
Fair. Sometimes you need a boost.
For a fun side topic here, and awesome Amin, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, threw this in the chat. Why don't we rate the Sen stashes? The Ottawa Senators tweeting out a few of them. Let's go top row left to right, starting with Drake Batherson. Martian, you're the resident Raider right here as you do boots on the ground at every Senators game, home or away. If you tag at Williams Martian, you will get a rating, whether you like it or not. As I found out, you don't always like it on Saturday night. However, all right, start with Drake. What are you thinking about that stash?
I mean, it's pretty light, I think, for Drake with his dark complexion, and I would expect a little more out of him. We'll see what it looks like at the end of the month, but I would go like right now. It's a 5 out of 10.
Yeah, I agree.
I think it's a little long if we do all 8. Pilsy, why don't you give me your worst right off the bat?
I mean, no offense, Shane Pinto, one of the most handsome men in the NHL, but I thought we're looking at mustaches here. I do not see one.
I don't see one on Holden.
I know Holden, the grizzled vet with no grizzled facial hair there. If we're going best one, my guy, Dylan Gambrell. Look at it there. Look at that muzzy. And one thing I got to comment, this has given me eerie flashbacks to the fishbowl profile picture years.
Yeah.
Like, look at Thomas Chabot. That is,
look at Sanderson.
Yeah, that's I don't know what's going on. I'm no professional photographer, but I think we can do better.
The boys did dirty again here by the social team, but I'm agreeing with you on Gambrell. I think that's probably the best one. Although DeBrincat and Sandersons are both working for them too, like on the ice. But I mean Gambrell, the nickname Officer Gambrell or whatever the boys call him, right? He looks like he's a detective right now with that look and the suit he's wearing too. So
yeah, either that or he's about to give a news anchor. He's about to
anchor Burgundy
in like Saskatchewan or Alberta. Like he looks ready to just do some local news right now.
Yeah.
The best has to be Jake Sanderson. Like with the flow too.
Yeah.
It is good. It is good. Yeah, he's top 3.
Burgundy. Come on.
Yeah, he looks amazing on the ice too with it too. Like I mean the whole look, he looks like a hockey player, right? I'm gonna love watching that mustache fly around out there for years to come, boys.
Yeah, Matt V saying Sandy looks like a 30-year-old FBI vet. Like he's straight out of Criminal Minds.
Yeah,
right?
True.
The guy who's just in the back smoking cigarettes. That's him.
Yeah, exactly. And low-key Tyler Mott's got a decent one too. So
yeah, and he's probably the most mature guy in this group of photos, other than Holden, who can't even grow any facial hair, as far as I can tell.
We got some Winnipeg insider information here. I thought, Emma, you're stepping on my toes. This is my prediction. But we're going to ride with it. It's Postcast After Dark. Emma says, a source I know from Winnipeg, not me, I disavow, said that they saw Pierre Dorion having a meeting with Brendan Dillon at Bellissimo. So take that as you will, but sounds like trade talks to me. That would be strange. Meeting with a player in the middle of the season.
Isn't that tampering?
I mean, if the team gives him permission, I'm sure that Zaitsev is available to have meetings with any team in the National Hockey League right now. I don't think it's gotten to that point. Like Brendan Dillon's still a participating member in the Jets top 6. It's not like it's reached the number 22 echelon where it's just like, hey, you can practice with us, but you don't play here anymore. Brendan Dillon, quiet season as he always does, more of a defensive stabilizer, +4, 3 assists in 14 games. But I don't know. I don't think so. At least, I mean, he played almost 18 minutes in their win over Seattle on Saturday. Brendan Dillon, the player, I don't know if he's who I would target, but at the time right now, it's kind of like, you know what, he would absolutely be an upgrade, right?
Yeah.
So
Brendan Dillon to me seems like an upgraded Travis Hamonic. Doesn't he kind of give you those vibes? And similar contract, right? He's got 2 years left at 3.9.
Yeah. Left shot though.
Yeah. Okay.
And a guy like him, sorry, go ahead. Finish your point there, Pills.
Oh, I'll just finish it quick. I'm interested in it, but we got to look at what the cost is here. Like, I think if you can get him for something that doesn't really burn the future much, sure, maybe try to stabilize things, but
like third round pick, like the DeMello return, basically, just the other way.
Yeah, or the Hamonic trade. I think it might cost you a little bit more than that, just because he signed for 2 years. That might pull some weight there, but yeah, I wouldn't go over a third round and maybe a prospect there, because that's
not even a prospect.
Yeah, I guess the Jets don't really need prospects, but that seems like kind of not a full Band-Aid solution, but it's not the right fix, right?
Yeah, it's kind of a short-term gap, and I think that there's potential for regression for him next year as well as he gets older.
Yeah.
Miles are tough, but in his prime, he would have been an excellent addition. Like he was a tough, hard to play against defensive defenseman who could score too.
That's what I was about to say when I interrupted Pilsy earlier. Is like, earlier in his career, he was one of those guys like Hamonic who was like kind of highly touted. I don't know where he was drafted, but like had a little bit, I guess, of attention on him. I don't know
Probably
if it was
San Jose, I'm sure. Or you mean like what draft round?
When he was playing for, I think Washington. When he was playing in Washington, he was like Brendan Dillon used to get a lot of attention. I feel like from the media and stuff because he was just being tough.
I did a feature on him last year when I did it for all the Jets players, and it was kind of cool getting to know him. Super humble beginnings for him, and worked for everything he had. Undrafted into the WHL, undrafted into the NHL, and now he's played 748 games. So. Yeah,
that's damn impressive. Wow.
What a call by me saying pedigree.
Yeah. No, but he made the most of it. And when he came up, like he grabbed the bull by its horns and didn't play much, if at all, in the AHL. Like he's been a good player. But hey, if that trade goes down, we'll dissect it even more. But as of now, I think we should get to GC Poppy, who is being way too kind. He's throwing a few little shekels at us. It's almost like we're playing music. He's just whipping the quarters in our
put another quarter in the jukebox and get your Sens takes. Let's go.
Anyway, Joe Bell wants to do a quick stat check though on, was it an age? Oh, I deleted that. Sorry, Joe, I deleted the side. I want to say Dylan is 33 or 32. Oh, Will says 32. Perfect.
Yep, 32.
Who do you guys dislike more, the Leafs or the Habs?
Wait, quick before we answer, are we talking the teams or the fans?
Give two answers.
Overall, just overall. I'm going Leafs. Leafs.
Yeah, it's easy for me too. It's the Leafs. I go with the team who made me cry as a child. No.
Yeah, that reason, and like Ross didn't have to deal with this, but I grew up my whole life in the heart of enemy territory. Lived in Toronto for 6 years. Everyone in my area was a Leafs fan, and it just drove me crazy. And that's a big reason why I was a Sens fan, because I was like, I can't stand Leafs fans, and the Leafs are garbage. So I will be a Sens fan. And the Leafs are the answer for me. Because the Leafs, when they invade the CTC, when the Leafs play here, the fans are just, it's brutal to deal with. Whereas the Habs fans, like when we did our meet and greet game, there were some Habs fans there. You know what? Like, obviously, you feel sorry for the choices they've made. But, oh, yeah, I hate Marner. That is a great point, Will Scott. I loathe Mitch Marner. So that's a big part of that, too. But the Habs fans, at least you can get along with and have some beers and have some laughs and just watch the game. But Leafs fans aren't tolerable. I can't.
Yeah, but there's a lot more jerk Leaf fans. I find like they
wear
their jersey. The other day I was at the Philly game here in Ottawa, and the Leafs aren't even playing. There was this Leafs fan in the parking lot after the game, and he was just giving it to everybody. And I was just like, dude, like, what are you? Like, you're such a loser in your Leafs jersey here. Like, get out of here. You suck.
Although in Spin Zone, wearing a Sens jersey to a playoff Leafs versus Habs game, very cool. That
was different, especially because at that time there wasn't even fans allowed in the rinks for like 2 years.
Shout out our boy Stewie.
Right? Yeah, so Stewie, like, he was just showing that there's still Sens fans out there somewhere because we were out of the playoffs and we hadn't had fans in months. So that was
310 days between games, but who was counting?
Yeah,
I was. It was super sad, but it was wild times back in 2020. But that draft, wow, it's bearing fruit at all levels. You boys want to talk for a second about an 8-7 game? I can't wait to watch that highlight pack. Whoever put it together, that exporting is going to take quite a while at CA Arena.
Yeah, you guys know all about that.
Yeah, I know all about that. Yeah, that's making our Wendy's number 6 combo wait a little while longer, eh, Ross?
They might even be serving breakfast by then.
Yeah, that's for damn sure. But
as an aside,
of course he did. But the thing, we'll get into the game a little more. But I got a comment on this. I retweeted it. Shootout Legends. Back to back. I wonder if this has ever happened before. That's how crazy the stat is, guys. Hold on to your seats right now. Back-to-back games where 3 exact same shooters for the Belleville Senators, and they all score both times. Jake Lucchini, in the previous game, first shooter scores. Igor Sokolov, second shooter, scores. Rook Chartier, third shooter, scores. All of those were low blocker shots, by the way. Now in this game, an 8-7 game, same order. Run it back, Troy, man. Are you gonna hit?
What happened?
You got to run it back. It's Jake Lucchini first, scores. Okay, nice. I knew you were working a drop there. I was trying to hit it for you. Next, Igor Sokolov scores. And Rook Chartier, the third guy, he scores, ices the cake, 8-7. Ross, that is a classic Belleville Senators game. How many high-scoring one-goal games did we watch at CAA Arena? You got to love it. And the points were all over the place here.
I'll run it through. I saw I saw Ridley scored in 2020.
Yes.
I saw that Victor Lodin.
Yeah, he had a nice one-timer.
Oh, it was his first game back too, right?
Yep.
Nice.
Who else, Pillsy? I'm looking at Igor's. So, okay,
I'm loading the page here. There's so many, I can't keep track of them all.
Okay, let's look. Tonight in the Senators 2020 draft, Tim Stützle, goal and an assist. Jake Sanderson, 2 assists, NHL, both of them. Ridley Gray, 1 goal, 2 assists.
Yep.
Igor Sokolov, 1 goal, 1 assist.
And a shootout goal.
Philip Daou, 1 goal, no assists. All in one draft less than 2 years ago, contributing. Unreal.
Permission to tweet that out, Ross?
Permission granted, my man.
Nice. And just as a quick aside here, some deep AHL stuff. The Belleville Senators and the Ottawa Senators need to acquire players from Laval more often. They acquired this dude, Brennan Saulnier, mostly an East Coast guy, for future considerations. He gets an assist tonight, so not a big deal.
And beats the shit out of someone, too. I see 17 penalty minutes.
Oh, damn. I didn't catch on to that. So, yeah, you'll love to see that for a new teammate.
Let's see here. He got 5 for fighting. Who'd he fight? Bill Sweezy. Have a name. Billy Sweezy. On Cleveland. And he gets 10. You get a 10 for instigating. All right. So 2 for roughing, 5 for fighting, and a 10-minute misconduct. All right. You were.
Way to have an impact. Yeah.
Yeah, way to have an impact. 8-7. The shots were 31-29.
Oh, boy. Not tough night for our guy, Antoine Bibeau. And Logan Flodell, not exactly a great night either, but not as bad as Jet Greaves. That guy played in the dub. You cannot tell me he played anywhere other than the dub. 23 saves on 30 shots. Yikes.
And so this game, they were trailing with 6.5 minutes left. Cleveland scores with 6.5 minutes left. Then Scott Sabrin takes a 5-minute penalty.
Whoa.
And the captain, Dylan Hetherington, defenseman, assist to Ridley Gregg with less than 5 minutes left, ties the game up at 7 before the shootout that you went through. That's unreal. That's unreal. I can't wait to watch this highlight pack. And boys, fellas, there will be no spin of the Tankathon tonight. No spin.
No, sir.
And you know what? There's not going to be a spin after the New Jersey game either. You know what? They're 2-1-1 in their last 4, fellas. Let's put a little respect on this heater.
No, for real though. Come on. Man, we went through a 7-game losing streak. Let's soak in these wins and just feel good about it. Get that spin out of my face, Ross.
Any last questions, or we'll wrap it up for today because we do have the Locked On Senators podcast tomorrow, and then we got Mark Mathot on Friday. We're recording it tomorrow, so if there's anything in particular you want us to get into, just tag us on Twitter at Sen Central. Will, I'm not answering that question. Will wants to know Fantilli or Michkov in the first round.
Yeah.
Not today, Will.
We haven't looked into that yet.
No. Ross has.
No.
No.
Not really, though.
No, not really. Not enough to make an informed opinion. All I do know, and look at me getting caught up in it right away, Matvei Michkov's not going to play in the NHL for like 3 or 4 years.
Yeah,
but he might be,
because he's got a contract over there, right, that he can't get out of.
Oh yeah. Okay, let's get some W's in the chat because we already got so many L's for Pilsy earlier. Oh, that's awesome. But yeah, if you have any final questions there. Oh, here we go. G-Man's got a great question. Love this one. If we were to call up one Belleville guy right now, who would it be? Martian, can we start with you?
Yeah, and it's an easy answer for me, and it's Ridley Gregg. He's come back from that injury, and he's been done nothing but put up points, and he looks comfortable already at that level. I'm sure if you ask Troy Mann, who's the first forward that they want to call up, if they're looking for, especially if it's a top 6 guy who goes down again, then he's probably the guy that they're going to give the call to. I would love to see him, and even like to mix things up on the 4th line, right? You can pop him in there. He's going to get in there for sure, and he's going to be fired up to be playing in the NHL, and he's gonna make some stuff happen, and you know that Ridley's going to do that.
So let's say there's no injury. You're just looking to improve your team. Does that change your answer? If not, where do you insert Ridley into the lineup we saw tonight?
I maybe give like Parker Kelly a break. I think that would probably be the guy I'd take out and put Ridley in his spot. And I don't know if I would maybe change Castlick and Gambrell there too, just to give Ridley a little bit of a guy who can back him up when he's screwing around out there. I think Casty's a little bit tougher than Gambrell, obviously. So yeah, I think I'd probably.
No, with that mustache, he's not.
I mean, no one's messing with that man. You're gonna get thrown in handcuffs if you screw around with Gambrell right now. But yeah, I think that would make a fun 4th line, right? Ridley, Castlick, and Watson. That could be a good one. Pilsy, what do you think? Are you leaning in another direction?
No, Ridley Gregg's really the only answer here. I mean, if we want to get fun with it, which you guys know me, I'm all about having fun. I don't poo-poo any ideas or bring the crowd down here. Jake Lucchini. Bring up Jake Lucchini. He led the team in scoring last season. He's leading the team in scoring again. Come on.
Well, I think based on our conversation with DJ Smith, Rourke Chartier or Jake Lucchini would be the guys he wants.
Yeah, DJ loves Rourke Chartier, and as he should. Solid player.
Yeah, real solid player. If the back end doesn't figure it out, like I wouldn't be opposed to swapping Jacob Larson with Dylan Hetherington or Lassie Thompson or one of those defensemen, but that might just be me.
Yeah, but then, like, if you bring Lassie up, Ross, we're looking at a decor with Jake Sanderson, Eric Brandstrom, Jacob Bernard Docker, and Lassie Thompson. Like, 4 of your 6 guys are in, like, their first years of the NHL. I don't know about that, and I'm sure DJ Smith would not be down with that.
Fair enough. Steve's asking, Martian, you should know the answer to this. Is or when is Tyler Boucher back from suspension?
He has just finished serving it. They just played 6 games without him. So he's back on Friday, 7 p.m. Eastern at the TD place. He will be back in action, and He'll be flying. So if you're in Ottawa and you have nothing to do on Friday night, it'd be a fun game to go watch him because it's going to be like letting a tiger out of a cage, I think. So, yeah, go check that out. Too bad
too bad he didn't get back. Too bad he didn't get back in time because they played at the CTC. It would have been cool for him to be at that game.
Yeah. It's a little tougher to go out there than to go to the TD place for me though. Like it's kind of a nice thing for me like that we do have one downtown rink with some hockey I want to watch. So it's pretty. I've walked there several times from Sandy Hill, so it's not too bad.
Yeah, I mean, anytime you can catch a 67s game with Tyler Boucher in the mix, that's something you got to do for sure.
They're also one of the best teams in the CHL. Them and Winnipeg are like two of like the three best teams.
They've only lost one game, I think, still.
Same
yeah,
with
I'm pretty sure it was just one. Yeah.
Winnipeg's 18-1. I think Ottawa's pretty close. I'm pretty sure Winnipeg was one.
See in the Mem Cup, Ross.
And hey, I don't know where my allegiances would be.
What? Are you
really?
kidding?
No, I'd be Ottawa, guys.
Okay.
Okay. You're trying to say see you in the Mem Cup like I was there on the other.
I mean, you are. I mean, you're boots on the ground in that province, so I don't know.
Oh yeah, wouldn't that be sick?
That'd be great. You get some boots on the ground with Boucher in your home rink. Although no, Mem Cup. Where is the Mem Cup this year? Do we know?
Halifax.
Halifax, yeah.
Oh yeah, cool.
Oh, that'd be bachelor party.
Hey, set that up.
I like Halifax. Yeah, I'm down.
Tomorrow I got called into work, but Connor Bedard's in town. So thank God they won. Otherwise, I would have had to go on a scouting trip.
No.
So Pilsy, how long do we have to be patient? How many more games before we're chilling? Like right now we're patient, but like I'm still like asking about the panic button.
We're not chilling. Not yet. I mean, I know it's so close, but American Thanksgiving is always the line. I believe that's this weekend. If the Sens can trickle along 2 more wins and get a little closer here, like I just feel like everyone's expects to be tempered. And we said it all along. I don't think either of us, Ross, or even Liam's Martian, was emphatically saying the Sens are a playoff team. They're going deep. They got the right team for it. Now's their year. Let's go all in. No, we didn't say that. We were just saying we want them to be able to play in meaningful games down the stretch. So to be in the race for that final wildcard spot is, I think, where this team sets up to be. Now, they're far from that right now, and the Eastern Conference is, and especially the Atlantic Division, is looking much tougher. But the panic, let's just put it this way: I know where the panic button is, Ross. Am I getting ready to press it? Is it out on my desk? No. But I go to bed at night and I'm like, oh man, that panic button's right in this top drawer.
That's what you think about right before bed?
Yeah. That and Magnus Hellberg highlights.
We got corrected. We're not going to Halifax, fellas. We're going to Kamloops. Halifax is the World Juniors.
Yeah, I knew it was something. Kamloops, man, I love that area of British Columbia, so not the worst for me.
Okay, we'll keep that in mind.
Also a fan of Blazing, so that's all right. The Blazers.
Yeah.
But it's gonna be the Vancouver Giants in the Mem Cup. Zach Ossipchuk had a 9 point last weekend. And how about ACX? The Sens are a positive goal differential team right now, which is a very slim silver lining after you look where they are numerically in the standings. But certainly it's better than not being.
They've got to be the only team down near that bottom of the standings that have that good of a differential, right? Like, for sure.
100%. Have they updated this from
I think I saw another team that was similar there. I forget who though.
Buffalo.
Oh, that makes sense.
So the panic button. Back to the panic button real quick. Okay. So the Sens, based on like this is something that Sportsnet put out during the intermission. Last year, the cutoff for the playoffs was 100 points. Yeah. So for the Sens to reach 100 points, they would need to go 41, 18, and 8 or equivalent points.
I don't think they can do that. And that's the thing. Like, I'm not saying that they need to make the playoffs, but just they need to be at least in the mix down. Like at the trade deadline, It can't be like we are obviously sellers in Ottawa. Right. That's basically what I'm getting at here. So do I think they can hit that? I think it was like a 67% win percentage or something like that, Marcia. No, but you need to be above 500 for the rest of the season. That's for sure.
Yeah, 100%. Totally agree. All right, final thoughts, fellas. We're over an hour.
Go Sens go, baby. That's it for me.
Yeah, that was going to be my final thought, Martian. Great minds think alike. Go Sens, go.
We're getting the Oscars walk-off music. Let's get some W's in the chat, though. The Sens are 4-1 winners. Woo! Tim Stützle has, let me get the exact stat here. Tim Stützle has 48 points in his last 43 NHL games, and he's 20 years old.
Good night, everybody. Thank you.
Das ist gut.
For Brandon Pillar, I'm Ross Levitan. Enjoy the victory. We'll talk on the Locked On Senators podcast tomorrow, but this has been the Postcast presented by the Locked On Senators podcast. It's your team every day.